Hi everyone, it's Rachel, founder with ArtCee. So excited today to be able to introduce to you Saara, who is one of our latest R&B talents here in Las Vegas. Welcome, Saara.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. So excited. So, gosh, what got you started? And then how did you land in R&B?
Man, so as far as music and singing went, I've been singing since I was very young, maybe like 5 or 6. My brother bought me my first keyboard and he taught me the first 6 notes to Furry Lease, and I was like, this is tight. This is really cool. And from then on, I kind of just proceeded to kind of self teach myself a little bit of the piano, not like the proper way where I'm sight reading and whatnot, but just going on YouTube and looking up tutorials so that I could sing covers and then play a little bit of a basic accompaniment to the songs. And then I just never really let go of it.
I love
And I
it.
kept singing. I joined choirs in middle school and stuff like that. When I was in high school, it kind of turned into performing at open mics. And then I started writing my own stuff right around the same
Wow.
time. And I've been recording for the past like 5 or 6 years now. So
Congratulations. That's really
thank you.
exciting.
And then as far as R&B goes, it was just always mine and my brother's favorite genre
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
younger. Yeah, I grew up
Well, I
listening to
love
a
it.
lot of Alicia Keys, Sade.
Oh, listen to that every day.
Right, it's timeless.
My
The
kind of
music is
music, yeah,
timeless.
I know. And I have to say, one of the things that really excites me, especially here in Las Vegas, is we have so much talent and so many creative people, and you can't even capture all the different categories and genres that we're covering. And so, kind of hearing the stories of people who are not just starting out because you've been doing this for a while now, but who are really trying to break into the industry. You
Yeah.
had talked about now having management representation, which is huge,
Yes.
right? And so, would love to hear more about that. But really, what does that process and that progress look and feel like for somebody earlier in in the stages of their career? So when you were emerging and now to where you are today, can you kind of talk about what that process was like for you?
Man, it's interesting because I still am and feel like such a baby when it comes to all of this. Like I just have not even scratched the surface in regards to where I want to be. But I love that question because it is nice to kind of look back and see the ways that I've progressed. It's been a journey. I've gone through uh, working with so many different people. I've gone through so many different soundscapes in terms of my music. I've evolved in my writing so much. And the timing of being under management at this specific point in my life just feels very divine, and it feels very right at this
I
moment
love
because I
that.
feel like I've finally honed in on what I want my sound to be and what I want my branding to be and what my motivations really are when it
Sure.
comes to everything too. So to be able to have somebody to just help me hold everything together and stay
Yeah,
consistent is really, really nice.
absolutely. So now you are writing the music and the lyrics yourself for all
Yeah.
your own work?
Lyrics, yes.
Lyrics,
I
very cool.
don't do anything as far as production and instrumentation goes, but lyrics and melody and all of that
Very cool.
is very much majority of the time me. And as of late, I've been really blessed to be surrounded by a bunch of other local artists that I've collaborated with and
I
been
love
working
it.
with that have given me great input and that I'll write with sometimes. So it's,
Yeah, that collaboration is really key.
yeah,
It's key not just for the success,
right.
our own success in the industry, but also just to help us grow, right, as we
Yes,
evolve in our craft. So I
absolutely.
have to ask you, what was your first song that you had written? What was that like compared to some of the stuff you're writing today? I mean, if
Dude.
you wrote it in like fifth, sixth grade, I could see how
No,
the
it's like
messaging changed.
I wrote my first song when I was in high school. I could not tell you exactly what the lyrics were or what it sounds like because I tried very hard to like burn it out of my memory when I like went back 2 years after I wrote it and listened to it. Like it sounded crazy. um, But I remember I started writing because I've always just very much had an affinity for words. I've loved poetry. I was a bookworm when I was very young. And when I was in high school and I started writing, it was because I went through my first breakup. So naturally, I felt like the world was ending and I was going to die. And I needed some way to get that out. And I had been very, very heavy into singing at this point. And I was like, you know what? Let me try my hand at this writing thing. And I'm sure whatever first song it was had something to do with whatever it was that I was going through. So it makes me laugh now because being this far into my adulthood, being in my mid-20s now and actually just like really experiencing life and things that have been much more devastating than like what that was is just the perspective is interesting.
Right. So have you actually gone back and like compared some of your writing to see your own personal evolution?
I try to sometimes.
Because it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard to go back and go, ooh, I felt that way about this person, or right?
It's very hard to get through more than like 10 seconds without just like full body cringing and then like throwing my phone to the other side of the room and like, okay, we're gonna focus on something else.
Oh gosh. So we were also talking earlier about the work that you're doing in the studio today.
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the projects that you're working on?
It's so exciting. So going into this year, I was very torn between whether or not I wanted to record a project or aim for some type of album or just stick to singles. And at the moment, I think the goal is just sticking to a consistent release of singles throughout the year and just kind of building my catalog, building my discography up a little bit, and making enough music that I could really sit down and have a vault and try to construct that into an album or kind of let it build itself, if that makes sense, versus just seek it out.
Sure.
But I have been recording primarily at Junction Studios here in Vegas.
Very good. Shout out, yeah.
Shout out Junction. Filled with just some of the most talented people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting and working with, but also just the chillest people ever. They're just so fun to be around, and I'm very happy that my day-to-day now consists of all of them.
I love that.
It's nice.
So you had talked earlier about collaboration, and here at ArtCee we're very big on the spirit of collaboration.
Right.
And that's kind of why we create and why we do what we do. It's not only to be able to highlight talent like yourself, but it's also giving people access, right? And giving people a platform so that it's easier to connect and to collaborate. So can you talk a little bit about how much collaboration, whether it's through Junction Studios or other people you've worked with in the past, how that's really helped to shape you as an artist?
Man, that's a beautiful question because I would not be anything if it was not for collaboration. That is just the foundation of everything that I do. I would be nothing if I can sing and I feel blessed to have that talent and to have been able to build that, but I wouldn't sound the way that I do on a record without an engineer. You know, I wouldn't have something to write on top of if it wasn't for the producers that I work with. You know, I wouldn't be able to hold my schedule together and be able to get in the studio and structure the way that all my releases are going to be and kind of just hold on to my sanity if it wasn't for my manager, Jerica.
I love that. Yeah.
There have been so many people that have been so instrumental to me being blessed enough to be where I am now that this is definitely like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to say that this is so much bigger than I am, you know.
Oh,
and
I
it's
love
all thanks to
that.
the people that have helped me.
I love that. So you had spoken earlier about singing in choir and doing some things, talent shows, some things on stage. So what moved you? What was kind of your moment that moved you from just being a singer, as you say, to being an artist?
Ooh, I wouldn't say that it was like a singular moment. There was definitely a moment where I started writing and I progressed into being more than just a singer, but an artist. But I don't think that I fully started realizing that until recently, if that makes sense. My whole life I sang covers because the idea of writing a song just like blew my mind. I was just like, how do people do this? This is hard. I'm never going to do that. I'm just going to get away with singing covers, and that's fun, and I'm comfortable there, and that's just what I'm going to do. But like I was saying, when I got a little bit older and I started, you know, getting angsty or whatever.
Right.
Just experiencing like a different range of emotions.
Sure.
as I went through life and I started to write, I think it was just, like I had said, I've always really, really liked words. I've always liked writing. I've always liked storytelling.
I love that.
And when I was going through all of these emotions that just felt so crazy at the time, there was just something in me that was dying to transmute how I was feeling into something meaningful. And one day I just decided, you know what, this could be absolute garbage. This could be the worst thing that I ever wrote. I could maybe never share this with somebody, but I really think this is going to make me feel better, to make this something a little bit bigger than just my experience.
I love that.
Something that I can hold on to, document in some kind of way to be able to tell a story. So
Yeah.
that was like the initiation. And then as I continued to grow in my songwriting, as I continued to work with other people, I think at this point I do very much consider myself an artist.
I love that.
It's taken on such a deep meaning to
Sure.
me, and I wear that title with a lot of pride.
I love that. You know, and I'm sensing from you, part of your evolution as an artist, as a songwriter, also comes from your ability to be vulnerable. Right. So I can imagine, only imagine, the more you became vulnerable maybe in life and accepting certain experiences, how that's really helped to shape some of the music that you've written.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's a big compliment, because it's definitely not always easy to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's really hard for creatives and for artists in general, whether you're in front of a camera, if you're a singer-songwriter, if you're a writer-director. I think it's how can we make our work real so
Right.
that people can connect with us if we're not open enough and
Right.
vulnerable enough to really share those deep feelings and those deep thoughts, right?
Right.
Because we all have them, but it's the expression of it through storytelling, as you say, which is what allows us to connect with you. So that's really exciting. I can't wait to hear your stuff.
Thank
so
you.
I wish I heard it before we met, but yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you.
So was there, I'm just curious, was there a moment in your journey where you received like that bit of validation, where it was like, I can do this. This person just said what I needed them to say,
Man.
right? Or I just needed that response, so I knew that I was on the right track. Was there a moment of validation for you?
I think that there's been, I'm so lucky to say that I feel like there have been so many moments like that
I love that.
along my path. Majority of which just coming from the people that I've worked with, you know, my friends who are creatives too, just loved ones. There's something that's just so special about showing my best friend a song and then hearing which lyrics resonate with her, you know. All of that just holds the same weight as it would, like, my favorite artist.
I love that.
Saying something to me, you know.
Yeah.
I will say, though, as of lately, or the most recent little bit of validation that I've had that has just been stuck in my head and that meant so much to me, I was trying to frequent TikTok a little bit more, just in terms of, you know, being on social media, being present on there, marketing my music or whatever. And there is a famous producer, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he goes by the name of Timbaland. And he'll go on TikTok and he'll do like TikTok lives. And what he'll do is he'll accept submissions from just whatever artists, randomly pick them, listen to their songs, and tell them how he feels about them. So I was watching his live one day and I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. Not thinking that he was going to pick me or whatever. And I think I was the first person that he actually chose to listen to his music, and it was just completely random. But I looked up to him so much throughout my whole childhood, because records that he's produced and songs that he's made were my favorite. Like, I remember being 8, 9, 10 years old, sitting in the car next to my brother, just turning the shit all the way up.
I love it.
Getting so excited about Timbaland. Like, I loved him so much. And he picked me, listened to my songs. And I think it was the second song that I had submitted that he listened to, and he just nodded his head while he was listening, and then he looked up and he was like, "You're dope." And I just, like, my knees buckled. I was like, that's all you had to say.
That's all he had to say. I love it.
Say
I
anything
love it.
else,
I love
and
it.
my knees buckled, and he followed me, and I was like, I could die happy. This is crazy.
Oh, I love it.
I'm gonna listen to Miscommunication for the next like month.
That's great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That is awesome. So now, do you have a favorite song that you've written?
that I've written.
That you've written and that you sing, that you perform? Is there like one that's like, God, this is my favorite. I love how I wrote it vocally, how I can express myself. I love my lyrics. It's like my favorite.
My favorite song. Dang, that's a tough one. I love them all for different reasons.
Sure. And I bet they're tied to certain times in your life,
Yes.
too, what you were going through. So kind of
Exactly.
thinking back, I would imagine, be like, you know, maybe it was a good song, but not to relive.
Right, exactly. It's like good song,
But-
not the best memory.
Yeah.
It's great song.
Well, that's really cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, as of recently, my favorite song to perform would be this song that I just put out recently called Bravado. And the reason being just because I think I was doing something a little bit different in the song structure than I typically would, and I was telling a different story than I typically would, and I think that's why I like it as much as I do.
I love that.
But Bravado is about self-reflection. It's very much about forcing myself to sit with myself and all of the things that I know that I need to change and have been avoiding and just need to face at a certain point. And maybe I'm not facing it now, but I'm facing the fact that I'm not facing it. So
Right.
it's about
love that.
acceptance.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah, and just sitting with how you're feeling,
Sure.
versus trying to escape from it and
Sure.
to distract yourself from whatever it may be. And that was a very big theme of my life in like 2022 going into 2023. So that one
Wow.
holds a special place in my heart for sure.
So I'd love to hear all of your music and to hear that song in particular. But I'm kind of curious. Do you think your music will change? Are you looking to
Absolutely.
kind of, yeah?
Absolutely. I think it changes frequently the more
Yeah.
that I learn. And I think that's
love
why going into the start of this, I say that I feel like I'm such a baby because I feel like there's so much that I have to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to be able to start learning all of it because I feel like going into this year, I'm definitely in the right rooms and I'm around the right people. And I feel like I've grown so much in the past 2 months alone. So with that growth and with all of that learning, the music is bound to change,
Absolutely.
but always for the better.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for the evolution of the whole entire thing. I have no idea what it's going to sound like at the end of the year, but as long as I'm not putting myself in a box, I'm happy.
Right, right. So what next? So you're working on the release of this album.
So singles.
Singles, okay.
Singles, yeah. So no project yet. This year is more so about just locking in and making as much music as I can
love that.
and being a little bit more consistent with just, trying to drop, whether it's a single a month or maybe more often. I'm going to try my best. But for now, it's really just been about exploring different sounds and getting comfortable in a new environment. I'm used to just writing all my stuff at home, and I'm spending a lot more time at the studio. So with that comes getting comfortable with writing around other people, changing up the way that I create, stepping out of my own comfort zone in a little bit. So right now it's just about having fun and making the music and then going
good for
from
you.
there.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And so where can we find you?
Man, you can find me primarily on Instagram. I feel like that's the social media that I gravitate towards the most. So that's at Saara Nishat. That's SaaraNishat. It's going to be that same handle on TikTok. I've been trying to frequent that a little bit more. But those are going to be the two main platforms that you can find me. I have a bunch of music videos. I have visuals and stuff. All of those are available on YouTube. And if we're talking the music, I'm available on all streaming platforms. So
Very exciting.
do with that what you
Yay,
will.
That's really exciting. Yeah. So now, so I do have to ask. So you're slightly familiar with ArtCee. We had a chance to talk a little bit
Yes.
about the platform and our why and how we are here to support the arts and entertainment community. So how do you feel, or do you feel the platform can help you or benefit?
Yes.
Your
And I
own-
told you this
Yeah.
earlier, but when Christine pulled me into the room and was like, "Do you know what we're doing?" And I was like, "No, tell me more." And she whispered to me what ArtCee was. I was like, "Dude, it's so smart. It's so smart because if there's something that I've learned being in Vegas and just being around all the creatives, no one does just one thing.
Right.
Everybody does like 5 million
Right.
things. Everybody is so multifaceted in their talents that to be able to build a platform where they can straight up tell you, I do this and this and this and this, and it's more of a professional platform versus
Right.
just putting 16 different titles in your Instagram bio.
Mm-hmm.
So useful.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
useful.
Well, thank you for that. We're really excited, and then to be able to highlight talent like yourself, it's
Man,
really
thank
exciting
you.
for us.
I'm honored to be here. I'm excited to be able to use it. I'm sure it's going to be of great help to me and everything that I've got going on, as
Yay.
it will be for all of us in Vegas. So
Cool, cool. So, okay, one last question then. So, imagine you're entering a party,
okay.
okay, and this is going to be in your honor,
Okay.
and there's background music playing, kind of a signature song. What would that song be?
No, that's so hard. Oh no. Oh my god, a signature song? Dude.
You have your favorites, there were inspirations for your writings.
It's gotta be hard though. Like
Alicia
it has to be like a
Keys.
good song. A signature song.
And blasting in the background. It's
Dude.
like presenting Saara.
That's nuts.
It would be one of your songs.
That would be cool. Is it supposed to be one of my songs,
It
or
can
is
be
it just like
anything. Just
any
what do you
song?
like? Yeah, what do you envision? What do you hear in the background?
I hear.
And it could be at any stage.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell you the immediate song that came to mind, without thinking about it too much, because there was a song that immediately entered my mind. It's not necessarily like, I love this artist, I love this song. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's not something that I grew up listening to, but it's Blessings on Blessings by Oshun. And I really like that song because she's very much talking her mess. And when I listen to it, it makes me feel like I am at the level of success that I want to be already. And it reminds me of sitting in the car with my best friend listening to the song over and over again, because my best friend is my stylist. So she knows all about all of the big dreams. We've put our heads together on all of my visuals and everything. She's very integral to my team, and
I love that.
very often we've listened to that song and have just talked about everything that we foresee when it comes to,
Yeah.
you know, my music career and everything. So
Yay.
that song just like
I love that. Now we're going to have
inspires
to
the
look
hell
it
out of
up and play it in the background of this interview.
me. Absolutely.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, Saara, let's make sure that we check out her socials and her YouTube channel. And yeah, and stay tuned for our next guests.
Yay.
Thank you.